We all keep our aquariums for different reasons. Perhaps you like the serenity, relaxation after a long day's work, of gazing at a beautiful community tank or planted aquarium. Or perhaps you like more the rough and tough community of cichlids. Maybe your passion is a beautiful marine aquarium. But regardless, they are all stunning, they are all fascinating creatures to observe. Now what if I told you there was one place that could make absolutely all your wet dreams come true? There is. And this place is Segrest Farms.
Hey guys, it's Biggs. You guys won't even believe this place even if I tried. This place is crazy. I'm at the one and only world-renowned Segrest Farms. And I don't even think I'm gonna be able to do one video or two videos or three. I don't even know. It might be Segrest week. I have no idea how I'm gonna put all this footage together. I was here yesterday for about 4 hours and we shot over 200 videos. And I'm here for a few more hours today, just get as much content as I can. It's probably gonna take me 6 months to edit through it all, hopefully not. But you guys gotta see this place. It's insane the stuff they do here. All right guys, been touring around Florida a lot this week with this lovely lady. You know who this is. This is the absolute monarch for fishes in North America, the lovely Miss Sandy Moore. And today she's going to show me a lot of stuff all behind the scenes, some stuff you may have never seen before at Segrest Farms. And today, where are we sitting right now, Sandy?
We're sitting in Ruskin, Florida. We are at one of our indoor production facilities, and this room that we're in is dedicated solely to Plecostomus production.
This one room does just plecos. You guys can see it. This is how big is this room?
Oh, I have no idea.
600, 800 feet square? I don't know. It's half the size of a football field, easy, right?
600 tanks, 600 bats.
So just 600 bats, that's it, just a few. And this is solely for the production of the common pleco.
That's right. Okay?
So that gives you guys a scope. Now, we'll show you guys, in walking around earlier, I noticed that most of them are empty. You were telling me that it's extremely seasonal on how you go about doing it.
Absolutely. So we buy the Pleco egg masses from collectors that go out into the 3 major Florida waterways and dive for them.
What a fun job.
These guys are super crazy, and none of them have all 10 fingers, because they're also, these guys, if they're collecting Pleco eggs, they're also collecting alligator eggs for the alligator farmers in Florida.
Bet you they're pissed at their guidance counselor.
Yeah, and I know for me, I'm not diving where there's mama alligators out. Yeah. Because they're super protective. So we buy the egg masses from them, and we buy a ton of egg masses. We hatch them out.
What time of year?
So they're collected from April through August.
And that's it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And so we've got to buy enough, cold enough to last us all 12 months, because customers don't care why you don't have them. They expect for you to have them all year long, or they're not going to carry them at all.
And this is one of your kind of top 10, top 15, whatever.
Absolutely.
This is one of your top standard fish.
Exactly. For dollar volume, the medium, the 3-inch, that's my ruler. My 3-inch Pleco is the #1 dollar selling fish.
And like, this is the pet industry, but this would be the equivalent, the pleco would be the equivalent of like going to the grocery store that has no milk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the bread. We've got to have it.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So how many plecos would you produce out of here?
So on average, in this room, we're going to produce about 6 million plecos a year.
For the North American pet trade, 6 million. Yeah. That's insane. What are those giant units at the back?
Those are giant fluid bed sand filtration. They've got hundreds of pounds of sand in them.
So any of you guys out there that think, can you over-filter a tank? The answer is no.
Right. Actually, that's a great thing to point out. At all of our facilities, we over-filter by about double what we should have.
Well, you go from nothing to massive amounts of bioload all at once.
Nothing to massive amounts to nothing. Right, it bounces up and down, and so we have to have the filtration that can handle it so we don't damage the fish.
So you guys see the scope of this thing. I'll show you some of the stuff close up, but you see the scope of this. This is just one little tiny, tiny part of what is Segrest Farms. All right, guys, you can see just each one of these rows, you were telling me, has 100 of these velts that goes from end to end.
That's right.
So this is 100, this is 100, this is 100, this is 100, and it just goes on and on and on.
That's right.
And these are actually what most people, if you know or don't know, these vaults actually serve another purpose. Now, they're awesome for fish farmers, but these are actually, honestly, burial vaults. In Florida, the water table is so high, apparently when you're dead, people don't want their casket buried underground that's going to be submerged in water, you know, because...
Or to pop out.
Or to pop out, I guess. You know, that's not something that'd be good for tourism. But these things are burial vaults. They're very, very economical to achieve because it's a great industry that produces a lot of them. And the nicest thing about them, maybe not indoors, is not as easy to place them. But you often, the cranes can come and actually pinpoint exactly where they go. They'll drill them and everything, get it all ready for you exactly the way you want it to be.
Right.
But it's an offshoot of that industry that is supporting another Florida industry.
Exactly. We've been using, in Florida fish farming, we've been using these burial vaults to raise fish since the 1960s, both because they store water really well and because they hold the temperature down. So mostly fish farming in Florida is done outside under greenhouses when you use these vats. Even if it's 110 degrees in the greenhouse, the vats will stay at 85 degrees or lower. Because
they're concrete and they keep it,
That's
they
right.
cool it. They have a natural cooling effect. And you were telling me, I'd asked you earlier about why you painted them all blue. It seems like a massive amount of extra labor, but because you're dealing with a vast diversity of types of fishes, it serves two purposes. One, it has a strong calming effect on the fish.
That's right.
And two, it removes that barrier of the alkalinity of the concrete. You know, most farmers I've seen that have used a lot of burial vaults are primarily hardwater fish, African cichlids
right.
and stuff.
That's
and these
right.
ones here, you deal with not just plecos in this facility you do, but you also do all sorts of different characins and wild stuff, and you want to make sure that they all have the right water conditions.
Right. So in this facility, we do these plecos indoors all year long. We don't put these fish outdoors. We think it actually compromises the quality of the fish. Indoors, we're not collecting them with the seine net and ripping the fish up. They're not getting trichodina.
Yeah.
And plecos are historically, they're just trick magnets. They collect it, they get it on their bellies, and being a sucker-mouth catfish, it's natural for them to get it. So we're also testing these fish before they leave here to make sure they are not carrying any bacterial parasitic loads before they go on to retail.
Well, you mentioned a couple of things earlier when we were wandering around that were very, very important points. One is that a lot of farmers that do raise plecos raise them below other fish that are their true fish that they want to bring to market, and by doing that they're feeding those fish, and then the plecos aren't getting the proper nutrition to grow properly.
That's right.
But you also, one other very important thing, like you mentioned about your facility, is each one of your facilities has staff on hand that are marine biologists and stuff like that, specialized in dealing with pathology and diseases and stuff like that. So it's a very, very strong ethical point about your facilities.
Exactly.
It's a lot of plecos, guys. I don't know if it shows up really well, but there's probably, what, 200, 300 fish in this one vault?
Yes.
And they all mass together?
They all mass together. They get fed, we feed both normal fish feed and we feed fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
Depending, whatever in season.
And you change it up all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, this is one of those fluidized sand filters. I don't know if you can really get the scope of it, but each one of these burial vaults is 8 feet by, looks to be 3 feet by 3 feet. That thing's got to be 10, 11 feet tall, probably about 8, 10 feet in diameter. The whole thing's in motion. It's got like almost like is that a protein skimmer? Okay, so it removes the proteins. And just to drive this one row, we're using 3 massive pumps. So they can move a ton of water through these things. This is probably one of the most efficient biological filters you could ever get for something of this size. So every single vault has markers on it. This one says it's the common pleco, and this would be the numerical markers are their hatch dates.
Yes.
So this one was 621, 625, and you use that marking system throughout your whole facility?
We do.
Yeah.
So this is one of our most popular use the mixed Mbuna Africans because they're ridiculously hardy and they are adaptable to the water conditions of most of the U.S., which is pH in excess of 7.5 in really hard water.
Malawi cichlids can take a bit of a temperature swing. They can take slightly cooler water. They're not as sensitive as, say, like the Tanganyikans and other species. And we were just talking about it before we were doing the video, that one thing that was always a challenge when I worked in the pet industry when I was carrying the mixed Malawi cichlids is you would get in Mbunas and then they'd throw in like a hardcore predator hap, and then there'd be like a Melanochromis vermivorus or something like that, or a peacock. Fish that all had, they'd all have very, very varying different dietary components, but also they had extremely different levels of aggression. And so Sandy was mentioning, she made a very, very conscious effort to kind of correct that in the industry. And so this is a very specific, what she calls a 4-color mix of all Mbunas. So it's very, very showy at the store level. What size would you sell these at?
We sell these at 1.5, 2-inch, 3-inch, 5-inch.
Okay. So lots of options for you there, and you're getting a nice color mix. So it's going to look really showy in the store. Benefits for the fish, benefits for the retailer.